No matter what happens in life, never give in. There will come a time in your life when everything you've worked for seems to be slipping through your fingers. The doors you once opened with ease now feel sealed shut. The very people who once cheered you on now whisper doubts behind your back. The world will test you, not to break you, but to reveal who you really are. Life is not easy, and it was never meant to be. But here's the truth. The man or woman who refuses to give in, who stands firm in the face of storms, will always find a way forward. When defeat knocks on your door, and it will, do not see it as failure, see it as a teacher. Every setback you experience carries the seed of an equal or greater comeback. That seed lies buried beneath your frustration, your disappointment, and your fear, but it will only grow if you refuse to surrender. Greatness is born from struggle. It is not handed down. It is earned in silence, earned when no one is watching, when the nights are long and the bank account is low, when the rejections pile up and the world says, "You're not good enough." But those who rise above do not listen to the world's opinions. They listen to the voice within. That voice says, "You are not done yet." You must fix your mind so firmly on your purpose that not even 1,000 failures can shake you. You must become obsessed with the vision that burns inside you. Obstacles will come, that is guaranteed. But whether they stop you or shape you depends entirely on you. Do not give in to fear. Do not give in to doubt. Do not give in to the critics, to the circumstances, or even to the voice in your head that whispers, "Maybe this isn't meant for me." It is meant for you, but it requires your full commitment. Success bows to the man or woman who is relentless. Life does not give rewards to the most talented. It gives them to the most determined. You must keep moving. You must keep believing. Even when the path isn't clear, even when everything inside you says to quit. Because persistence is the key to every locked door. Think of every person who ever achieved anything extraordinary. They were told no, they were told they weren't enough, they were laughed at, ridiculed, doubted, but they pressed on. Not because it was easy, but because they had decided never to give in. Do you understand the power of a decision? A true decision cuts off all other options. When you decide you will not stop until your goal is achieved, the universe begins to align with you. People, opportunities, and ideas appear. But only after you commit with every ounce of your being. This is not about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about faith, discipline, and desire. When you combine those three, nothing can stop you. Not time, not failure, not the opinions of others. There is a power inside you that is waiting to be unleashed, but it will not show itself to the one who quits. It will only reveal itself to the one who keeps going, the one who says, "I will not give in, not today, not ever." So no matter what happens in life, no matter the betrayal, the bankruptcy, the heartbreak, the rejection, get up, keep going, refuse to give in. Because your destiny is not written by your pain, it's written by your persistence. And if you do not quit, if you do not give in, you will arrive at the life you were born to live. Defeat is one of the most misunderstood forces in the world. It arrives in our lives cloaked in pain, wrapped in disappointment, and often mistaken for finality. But defeat is not the end. It is not a sign that you are not meant for greatness. It is not proof that you are incapable. No, defeat is a messenger. It is a silent, powerful teacher sent into your life to prepare you for the level of success your mind has not yet grown strong enough to hold. Those who do not understand defeat misinterpret its arrival. They shrink back, they retreat, they give up. But those who understand its purpose lean in, learn, and rise stronger than before. Every person who has ever achieved anything worthwhile has met defeat face to face, not once but many times. The difference between those who win and those who stay stuck is not luck, not talent, not resources. It is their relationship with defeat. The ones who triumph have trained themselves to see defeat not as failure, but as feedback. They ask the right questions. What can I learn from this? Where did I fall short? What part of my thinking must evolve? What inner weakness was exposed? Because defeat doesn't just stop you, it reveals you. It shows you the exact areas where you must grow if you ever want to carry the weight of your vision, and until you face that growth head-on, your destiny remains out of reach. You must understand this. Life will never hand you a reward you haven't earned. Success must be paid for in advance, and part of that payment is made through defeat. through sleepless nights, through embarrassment, through loss, through the ache of working relentlessly for something that still hasn't arrived. That pain is not for nothing. That pain is the tuition for your greatness. If you give up at the first sign of defeat, you don't just lose a battle, you abandon the very process that was shaping you into the person you need to become. There is a reason why so many people start strong and end weak. Because they misjudge the process. They believe the start is what matters. They think excitement is enough to carry them through. But life doesn't reward the starters. It rewards the finishers. The ones who endure, the ones who push through when motivation fades and only discipline remains. And in that lonely place, defeat will show up. It will whisper lies. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe this is too hard. Maybe this isn't meant for you. But defeat is not there to stop you. It's there to ask you, how bad do you want it? It is there to test your resolve, to challenge your belief, to see if your purpose can withstand pressure. Those who run from defeat run from growth. Those who fear losing never experience the joy of true victory. The greatest mistake you can make is believing that your value is determined by how easy things come to you. The truth is, the more you struggle, the more you are being strengthened. The more you fall, the more prepared you become for the climb. The fire is not there to destroy you. It is there to burn away the parts of you that are not ready for success. Pride, laziness, fear, doubt, all must die so that the real version of you can rise. Think about the oak tree. It begins as a tiny acorn. That acorn must be buried in darkness, must be broken open by pressure, and must push through dirt and struggle before it ever sees the light. Without that process, there is no tree. Without that darkness, there is no strength. Life is not trying to punish you, it's trying to promote you. But it will not hand you the crown until you have earned it in the fire of resistance. So when defeat comes, don't curse it, welcome it. Say to yourself, good, this means I'm being prepared. This means I'm getting closer. Every time you get knocked down and rise again, you build something inside yourself that no one can take from you. That's the real reward. That's what success truly is. Not money, not fame, not applause, but the inner knowing that no matter what comes your way, you will not break. That kind of confidence doesn't come from winning. It comes from losing and choosing to stand again. It comes from facing what scared you most and walking through it anyway. It comes from sitting in the ashes of what you built and deciding to rebuild again, wiser this time, stronger this time, more focused this time. Do not envy those who seem to win without struggle. Their path may be smooth now, but they are not being strengthened, and one storm can shatter what has not been forged in fire. You, on the other hand, are being molded into something unshakable. Every failure, every rejection, every closed door is giving you what ease never could. Character, vision, grit, a depth of purpose that success alone can never provide. And when your time comes, you will not just rise, you will rise ready. There is no shame in defeat. The shame lies in quitting. The shame lies in refusing to learn. The shame lies in blaming others, in playing the victim and expecting life to be fair. Life is not fair. It's filtered. It filters out those who are not ready. Defeat is the filter, and only those who pass through it with the right attitude move forward. Those who resent it, resist it, or retreat from it are pushed aside, their potential unrealized, their greatness buried in regret. So the next time you face defeat, pause, reflect, ask yourself, what am I being taught right now? What weakness is this revealing? What strength is this demanding? Your ability to ask those questions, to extract wisdom from your wounds, will set you apart from the masses. Most people waste their pain, but not you. You will harvest it. You will mine it for gold. Because pain is a powerful teacher, and those who listen to it rise with insight others never earn. You will learn to embrace the process, you will learn to appreciate the journey, and you will understand deep in your soul that the destination is not a place, it's a transformation. You are not here just to achieve, you are here to evolve. And evolution demands adversity. You are not being punished, you are being perfected, you are being designed. Every tear you shed in private is watering the roots of the person you are becoming. Every loss, every failure, every fall is chiseling away the parts of you that were never meant to stay. Defeat is the fire that burns away ego, laziness, entitlement. It humbles you, it grounds you, it brings you back to the truth that success is earned, never given, that nothing worth having comes without a price, and that the greatest prize is not what you gain, but who you become. That is the reward defeat offers you, not just victory on the outside, but transformation on the inside, if you choose to see it, if you choose to stay the course, if you choose not to quit when quitting seems easiest. You were not born to give up, you were born to grow. You were born to rise, you were born to lead, to serve, to impact. But you cannot do that without first learning the lessons defeat is here to teach you. It will teach you patience, it will teach you humility, it will teach you self-awareness. It will teach you to rely not on what's outside of you, but what's inside. Because everything you need is already within you. But sometimes defeat must come along to shake you, to wake you, to strip away what is false so that only the real remains. You are not defined by your losses, you are defined by how you respond to them. Every great champion you admire once stood in the same place you are now, hurt, rejected, doubting, questioning. But they made a choice. They chose to rise. They chose to learn. They chose to endure. And now, it's your turn. The most successful people in history were not always the most talented. In fact, many were told they had no talent at all, but they had something more powerful than approval. They had a decision to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep trying, failing, learning, and rising again. They understood that the journey would not always be supportive, that doubt would speak louder than encouragement, but they pushed through anyway because they knew something that others didn't, that persistence eventually beats resistance. There will be moments when everything in you wants to stop, when your progress feels invisible, when no one believes in you, not even yourself, when your work feels unnoticed, when your energy is gone. But this is where most people stop. This is the silent battlefield where dreams die, not because they weren't possible, but because someone lacked the patience to endure the process. Success does not come to the smartest, the fastest, or the most naturally gifted. It comes to the one who refuses to quit, the one who stays when others walk away, the one who shows up again and again and again, even when the applause has faded, even when the inspiration is gone. Persistence is what builds strength where weakness once lived. It is what carves discipline out of chaos. It is what turns failure into a foundation. Each time you persist, you are training your mind to believe in yourself a little more. You are proving to the world and to yourself that you are serious, that you are not here to play small, that you will not be pushed around by circumstances, that you have chosen your path, and no storm, no critic, no setback will drag you away from it. When you persist, you take back control. You stop relying on luck and start relying on effort. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. You stop asking for permission and start moving with purpose. The world begins to open up to those who refuse to back down. Doors that were once closed begin to creak open. But because you were loyal to your vision, when the world saw nothing, you kept seeing. When the results were missing, you kept believing. When others laughed, you kept building. Talent can make things look easy, but persistence proves your character. Talent might impress people, but persistence inspires them. Talent may catch someone's attention, but persistence earns their respect. And make no mistake, respect, not attention, is what builds legacy. You don't become great because you had a good day. You become great because you survived 1,000 bad ones and kept moving forward. You must make peace with the grind. You must learn to love the silence, to find joy in the repetition, to fall in love with becoming, because there is no shortcut, there is no fast track to mastery, there is no magic to success, there is only repetition, only refinement, only the daily decision to stay faithful to your calling even when nothing seems to be working, especially when nothing seems to be working. That is when it counts the most. When you feel like quitting, but don't. When you feel like breaking, but bend instead. When you feel invisible, but keep shining anyway. Persistence builds resilience. It teaches you to stay calm in chaos, to keep your head up when everything around you is falling apart. It gives you mental muscle, emotional intelligence, the ability to endure pressure without losing your passion. But with it, you become a prisoner to your emotions, but with it, you become a master of your life. No one can hand you your future. No one can walk your path for you. It is your steps that must carry you forward, your sweat that must water your dream, your voice that must silence your doubt. Talent may inspire your start, but persistence will carry you through the darkest valleys, across the longest deserts, and up the steepest mountains. The journey will demand everything from you and then demand even more. But if you do not quit, you will arrive. The truth is, talent is common, discipline is rare, persistence is rare. Most people are willing to work until it gets uncomfortable, until it gets boring, until it gets hard, but those who rise to the top, the real top, are the ones who outlast, the ones who keep their eyes on the vision and their feet in motion, the ones who are too stubborn to quit and too focused to be distracted. They don't rely on motivation, they rely on commitment. They don't need external rewards, they are driven by internal fire. You will face resistance, you will face rejection, you will face delay, but remember this, none of these things are stronger than your will. None of these things can stop you unless you stop yourself. The moment you decide that nothing will stop you, that is the moment your life begins to shift. Persistence is not about perfection, it's about progression, it's about getting back up one more time then you fall. Trying one more time than you fail, believing one more time than you doubt. The power is in that one more. That is where transformation happens. There are no guarantees in life except this. If you quit, you lose. But if you persist, you give yourself a chance to grow, a chance to evolve, a chance to turn your potential into something real. You cannot control the results, but you can control the effort. And in a world obsessed with outcomes, it is the consistent effort that makes you unshakable. The dream is not given to the most talented, it is given to the most committed. The crown does not go to the one who moves the fastest, it goes to the one who refuses to sit down. Life will always test you before it blesses you, but every test you pass through persistence moves you one step closer to the promise. So when your strength is gone, borrow from your purpose. When your confidence is low, lean on your consistency. When your vision gets blurry, keep walking anyway. Because talent can be defeated, talent can fade, but persistence never dies. Persistence turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Persistence creates miracles in the lives of those who refuse to quit. You may not feel ready, you may not feel strong, you may not feel talented enough, but none of that matters. If you are willing to persist, you will find your strength in the struggle. You will find your power in the pressure. You will find your voice in the silence. All you must do is keep going. One step, one choice, one day at a time. Because no matter how talented someone is, if they stop, they lose. And no matter how average someone may seem, if they persist, they win. The turning point of every life begins with a decision. Not a wish, not a preference, not a casual maybe, a real decision, a moment where the soul declares, this is what I will do, and all of life begins to shift. Decision is the first act of power. It is the birthplace of every transformation, every breakthrough, every legacy. Nothing happens until a mind is made up. No mountain is moved, no empire is built, no dream is realized until the individual makes a decision so strong, so final, that it silences doubt and commands action. Most people live in the waiting room of life, paralyzed by indecision. They drift from one idea to another, hoping for clarity, hoping for convenience, waiting for signs, waiting for approval. But clarity comes from commitment, not confusion. Power arrives only when you stop entertaining every option and commit fully to one direction. The indecisive mind is weak. It is easily influenced, easily discouraged, and easily defeated. But the committed mind is a force of nature. It does not ask for permission. It does not wait for guarantees. It moves, and the world adjusts. Decision is not just a mental choice. It is a spiritual contract. The moment you truly decide, every cell in your body aligns with that choice. Your energy changes, your focus sharpens, your mind begins to filter the world differently. You no longer see excuses, you see solutions. You no longer waste time, you create momentum. You no longer doubt yourself, you begin to trust your ability to figure it out. But this only happens when the decision is absolute, when there is no plan B, when turning back is not an option. The truth is, the universe respects commitment. It does not reward the half-hearted, it does not bend to the double-minded, but when you commit fully, deeply, unwaveringly, you activate unseen forces. People show up, resources find you, opportunities open. Not because life is suddenly easier, but because your energy becomes undeniable. A committed soul becomes magnetic. It pulls what it needs. It creates its own reality. You must understand that the only thing standing between you and everything you desire is your level of decision and commitment, not your background, not your education, not your circumstances. You can be underqualified, underfunded, and still win if you are committed, because commitment compensates for lack. It multiplies your effort. It sharpens your creativity. It fuels your courage. People will doubt your talent. They will question your vision. They may even laugh at your dream. But no one can deny a person who refuses to give up. No one can ignore someone who keeps showing up, keeps growing, keeps fighting when everyone else has stopped. Commitment is not about emotion. It is not about how you feel on your best day. It is about what you choose to do on your worst day, because that is where greatness is forged, in the mundane, in the repetition, in the early mornings, the late nights, the hours no one sees. Commitment is the willingness to do it anyway, to take the next step even when you're tired, to keep building even when the results are invisible, to stay loyal to your vision even when no one claps. That is where champions are made. That is where destiny is written. Decision brings direction. Commitment sustains it. Without decision, you wander. Without commitment, you wither. But with both, you become unstoppable. You begin to live life on your own terms. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop doubting and start declaring. You stop fearing and start leading. You cannot live a powerful life with a powerless mindset. Nothing is more powerful than a made-up mind. When you commit to a path, you eliminate distraction. You create clarity, and clarity is a weapon. It cuts through confusion. It ends hesitation. It fuels execution. The reason most people fail is not because they lack talent. It's because they keep starting over. They never commit long enough to master the process. They keep changing goals, changing directions, changing their mind every time it gets hard. But you must stay. You must endure. You must decide once and for all that you are in this to the end. Commitment demands sacrifice. It demands discomfort. It demands that you give up your excuses, your doubts, your need for approval. It will cost you something, but what it gives you in return is priceless. It gives you purpose. It gives you progress. It gives you power. There is no strength without struggle, and there is no progress without persistence. The world respects those who choose their path and walk it with integrity, with fire, with faith, no matter. There is something sacred about commitment. It is rare, it is beautiful, it is transformative. In a culture that worships instant gratification and quick exits, to be committed is to be different. To decide is to lead. To follow through is to separate yourself from the crowd. Anyone can start a journey, anyone can dream a dream, but only the committed finish the race. Only the committed build the vision. Only the committed create impact that outlives them. Look around at the greatest achievements in history. Behind every innovation, every revolution, every breakthrough, you will find someone who made a decision and never backed down, someone who faced ridicule, resistance, and roadblocks but remained committed. That is what moves the world forward. Not talkers, not thinkers, not planners, but doers. Finisher. Those who understand that the difference between failure and success is often just staying with it a little longer, trying one more time, holding the line when everyone else folds. Commitment builds character. It reveals who you truly are. Because when the pressure rises and the storm hits, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your commitment. If that foundation is weak, everything crumbles. But if it is strong, nothing can shake you. Life will test you. It will try to distract you, delay you, discourage you. But you were not created to be average. You were not designed to live a life of regret. You have power within you that is waiting to be unlocked by a single decision, followed by unwavering commitment. You must decide what you want and then build a life that aligns with that decision. Not just when it's easy, not just when it's exciting, but especially when it's hard, especially when it's lonely, especially when no one claps for you. Because that is what separates those who have a vision from those who live it. That is what separates those who hope from those who harvest. It is the fire of commitment that turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. There will be moments when you are tempted to quit, moments when the mountain looks too high, the night too dark, the pain too deep, but in those moments, remember your decision. Remember why you started. Remember that you were not built to bow under pressure. You were built to rise through it. Hold the line, keep walking. Every step you take while others stop is one step closer to your destiny. Every day you stay in the fight, you build momentum. And momentum is magic. Momentum makes the impossible possible. but it only comes to the committed. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to have perfect timing. You just need to decide. Decide who you are. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. Decide what future you will create. And once that decision is made, shut the door on everything else. Burn the bridges. Kill the excuses. And march forward with faith that your commitment will carry you. You were not born to be average. You were born to lead, to conquer, to rise. But it begins with a decision. And that decision must be followed by relentless, unapologetic, unstoppable commitment. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has walked through pain. Pain is universal. It is the common thread in every human story. But while pain touches all of us, it does not define any of us, unless we allow it to. Pain may shape your experience, but it is persistence that shapes your destiny. Pain introduces you to the fire. Persistence decides whether you come out burned or refined. Pain may be what wakes you up, but it is persistence that keeps you moving when every part of you wants to give in. Pain might write the introduction to your story, but persistence holds the pen that writes the ending. There is a deception that too many believe, that if you suffer long enough, success will eventually reward you, that if you go through enough, you will arrive. But pain is not what delivers the dream. Pain only sets the stage. It is what you do after the pain that determines who you become. Because everyone suffers, but not everyone persists. Everyone gets knocked down, but not everyone stands up again. Everyone feels broken at some point, but not everyone chooses to build something out of the brokenness. There are people who carry pain like a badge, who rehearse their wounds like a script, who build their identity around what they've been through. But pain is not a destination, it is a tunnel, and you are meant to pass through it, not live in it. If you stop in your pain, you will never know your power. If you bow to your suffering, you will never see your strength. Your destiny is not waiting in your sorrow. It is waiting in your struggle to rise beyond it. It is waiting in the moments when you keep going with tears in your eyes and wounds still fresh. It is waiting in the silence when no one claps, but you keep building. It is written in the times you refuse to let your history dictate your future. Persistence is the quiet force that will carry you where pain tries to bury you. It does not make a show of itself. It does not cry for attention. It simply shows up, day after day, step after step, refusing to quit, refusing to let hardship have the final word, refusing to let fear win. Because persistence is not a feeling. It is a decision. It is not something you turn on when life is convenient. It is the commitment you make when nothing makes sense. It is the thing that says, this may be hard, but I will not stop here. Too many people allow their pain to write their story. They allow the heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss, the rejection to become their identity. But your identity must come from what you fight through, not what fights against you. Persistence turns the victim into the victor. It turns the wounded into the warrior. It gives you your life back, not by erasing the pain, but by proving it can't stop you. Every champion has a chapter they don't talk about. The days they doubted everything, the nights they cried alone, the moments they questioned if it was worth it, the failures that nearly broke them, but they kept going. They stayed with the process. They did not let pain dictate the terms of their destiny. They did not give pain the pen. They took it back and wrote something greater. The truth is, pain will come for all of us, but persistence is a choice, a muscle, a discipline. And the more you use it, the stronger you become, not just in body, but in spirit, in clarity, in purpose. Because the person who keeps going develops something unshakable. They learn to keep their eyes on the vision even when their heart is breaking. They learn to take another step when their legs are trembling. They learn to believe when there's no evidence around them. That is power. That is how destiny is shaped. Not by what you go through, but by how you keep showing up through it. Pain may have introduced you to the journey, but don't let it become your reason to stop walking. You may have scars, but those scars are not proof that you were defeated. They are proof that you survived, that you endured, that you made it through, and that you have what it takes to go further. Every painful season is a test of your spirit, a challenge to see if you will shrink back or rise up, if you will let your circumstances control your calling, or if you will push forward in spite of them. Persistence is not glamorous, it is not loud, it is not always seen, but it is the most powerful force a human being can possess. Because when you persist, you begin to outlast the things that were meant to break you. You start to gain ground even in storms. You start to create momentum even in opposition. You start to build a life not based on comfort, but on conviction. and people may not understand you. They may tell you to give up, to be realistic, to take the easy road. But you are not here to please people. You are here to fulfill a purpose. And purpose does not bend to pain. It grows through it. You must decide what kind of story you want to live. Will you be the one who gave up because it was hard, or the one who pushed through and discovered who you really are? Will you be the one who let their past define them, or the one who turned their pain into fuel? You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control what you do with it. You can decide to persist, to rise, to become someone no pain could ever destroy. Persistence is the fire that keeps burning when everything else has gone cold. It is what makes you show up when the world has stopped watching. It is what drives you to get back up, not because you feel strong, but because you refuse to let weakness win. That is how destiny is written, in the daily fight, in the relentless belief that there is something greater on the other side of the pain if you refuse to stop walking. Your destiny is not written by how much you've suffered. It's written by how much you endured, how much you grew, how much you chose to continue even when everything in you wanted to give in. Pain will visit, but persistence will make sure it does not stay. Pain will test you, but persistence will teach you that you are stronger than anything that comes against you. Pain will try to make you bitter, but persistence will make you better. Pain will try to take your voice, but persistence will amplify it. Pain may be the fire, but persistence is the gold that emerges. Do not measure your future by your failures. Do not look at your wounds and think you are unworthy. Do not stare at your pain so long that you forget your power. You are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still in the fight. And that means you still have the ability to choose, to decide, to keep going. Every time you do, you take back the power. Every time you do, you prove that persistence, not pain, writes the final chapter. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to refuse to stop. That one decision, to persist, can alter your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. That one decision to keep going can open doors pain tried to close. That one decision to believe again can reignite the fire that pain tried to extinguish. It doesn't matter how long you've been stuck, how long you've been broken, how long you've been afraid. If you choose to persist, you choose to rise. The most beautiful stories ever told were not about people who had it easy. They were about those who endured, who faced pain but chose persistence, who carried their cross but didn't stop walking, who were knocked down but rose up again and again. That is the story worth living. That is the legacy worth leaving, and it is yours if you choose it, because in the end, your pain does not define you. Your persistence does, and that is where your destiny is written.